Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is the final part, the third part of my three-part series that I talked about previous parts 1 and 2. Part 1 was how I survived 2020 in the driving school business. The next part, part 2, is how I survived 2021 and in driving business as well. So this particular video, I want to kind of condense them both and kind of give you some ideas of what I experienced. And keep in mind, this is not financial advice. Your totals, if you're in this type of industry, may be a lot higher, a lot lower. I don't know. So, I just want to share with you what I experienced. 2020, as I mentioned earlier, with the quarantine, we shut down for about 2 months, 2.5 months or so, and sales still came in through our website, and so it was still okay. I wasn't expecting much due to all the uncertainty that we were facing at the time. Um, so whatever sales I got, I was happy with. Wasn't expecting a lot. So as I mentioned earlier, once the quarantine was lifted, um, sales grew and grew. In 2020, I counted probably 35% more than 2019, and so I was happy with that total. I wasn't, I was somewhat shocked because everyone was talking about going under. People were, talking about, all kinds of different negativity. However, I was booming, and my sales reflected it, and my expenses weren't, that high either. So it was a good profit year. 2021 was even better than 2020. Excuse me. I probably hovered around the 40 to 50% more in sales. Of course, 2021. I'm still filming this on December 12th, 2021. So obviously, all the sales totals haven't been calculated for 2021. But my best guess, I'm probably 45% higher than 2020 was. And once again, I've been blessed by a lot of neat things and a lot of awesome customers. And now I have some helpers, instructors that can help, that are really top notch people and top notch at what they do. So I'm getting where things are just looking great for me as far as this type of business. Um, there are some pitfalls. We took on more debt because we got a larger office. Of course, when you hire someone, regardless, it's obviously more debt. We bought 2 new cars, or not new cars, but more cars. We had to outfit them with side brakes and signage and all the things that are required in our local community. So that was costly. Adding simple things like tire jacks and you know dash cameras, just all this extra stuff that normal people wouldn't have to worry about when they buy a car. We had to go and upfit it. So those are all upfitted and everything is good now. We now have 4 cars going, so that's a huge help and a huge blessing. Whereas prior to 2020, I was only had 1 car. So now I've upgraded my cars, my fleet, to newer cars. Not too new. You don't, when you're driving teenagers, regardless of what state you're in or what country, you don't want to spend a lot of money on cars. You want a good quality car, safe quality car with good features, good safety features, but you don't want to spend a boatload of money. Because I've had my tire blown out, 2020, I've had 2021, you know, it's all kinds of, if it curbs, your car does take a beating. Okay. And most of the time, as I mentioned on how to start a driving school, my cars usually last about 2 years. And then they're ready pretty much for me to trade them in. 3 years if I'm lucky. So I do have one car that's an older car that I'm hoping I get one more year out of. I've got 3 so far out of them. So hopefully I'll get 2022 out of it before I decide to trade it. It has 340 some thousand miles, so it does have some age to it. But I'm hoping that can last me a little longer. Just hopefully. As far as other expenses I've incurred, we were fortunate that we knew kind of what we were expecting because we've been in business for a few years, and that we didn't have to recreate the wheel or anything like that. We pretty much knew what that were kind of. But when you're hiring new people, those new people require salaries and taxes and things of that nature. So it's going to be interesting to see our total expenses versus our sales. Like I said, 40% profit. That 45% probably is where I'm looking at, truthfully, from 2021. 2022 looks pretty strong still. I've already got a good solid class for January, February, and I've even started taking students for June of 2022. So hopefully, I'm actually looking at possibly hiring another driving instructor. As I mentioned earlier in videos, how much long it takes to get an instructor, in the classes and things of that nature. So it is a process. So I'm hoping that everything will be much better this time around. I do have someone in mind that wants to start. So, and as I mentioned earlier, in the 2021 video, how I survived it, the drive onlys, 42,000. So you can imagine what my sales would have been, my percentage, if we could have got those $42,000 more in sales than the previous year. Because I'm trying to plan ahead and hire someone, to do those for us. I'm looking at 2022. Probably, if everything goes what I want it to go, compared to 2021, is us to capture as many of those drive only sales as possible. I'm hoping that happens. And if that's the case, then we probably will be on schedule for about another 30 to 45% plateau part, as far as more sales and things like that. Maybe more. Who knows? But anyway, I just wanted to share with you kind of what I've experienced throughout the 2.5 years or so. It's been an interesting situation. But one thing with this business, one thing when you're dealing with students and parents, especially students, they're excited. They want to learn to drive. It's a kind of a rite of passage for them. And so you've got a lot of flexibility. And most students are more flexible, meaning they're more, they go with the flow a little easier. And so that's important for you because, with this quarantine that we had, my students stuck with me. They didn't go somewhere else. They understood that, hey, this is unusual and that we're going to get through this together. Parents, on the other hand, sometimes are wanting it for their students so much that they're not willing to be flexible. Most of them will be. Like I said, I've met a lot of awesome people the last 2 years or the last 6 years that I've been in business. But they want it for their kid, and I certainly understand that. And we do our very best to get everybody through, so that way that they can have their permit and license, and they can feel like they've grown up some and everything. But anyway, so 2022 looks pretty strong. 2021 was excellent. By far the best year that I've had in 6. 2022 looks to be even better than 2021 was. So as I mentioned too, I've been blessed with a lot of good help and a lot of good knowledge that has been dropped my way. So anyway, I just want to share this thing with you. If you like the video, please like it on Facebook or YouTube. It helps the algorithm out. If you got any questions, feel free to leave a comment. And so just have a great day, and see you next video.